Hello class, and welcome to Notes 3.8, Simple and Compound Interest. Our real focus today is going to be on simple interest, but I do want to go over compound interest just so you get a bit of a feel for it. And our objective is to use percents to calculate simple and compound interest. Interest is the amount of money earned or paid for the use of money. So that means if you go to the bank and you deposit money into a savings account, they borrow that money from you and they use it, so they pay you interest as kind of a thank you. Same thing if you were to borrow money from someone. When you pay back, oftentimes you have to pay back more than the original amount of money, which would be interest. So it's basically inspiring the person to lend you the money and thanking them for doing so. The principal is the amount of money borrowed or deposited, so principal would be what you started with. Simple interest is interest that's earned or paid only on the principal, and our formula is nice and easy. I equals PRT. Annual interest rate is the percent of the principal paid or earned per year. The balance is the sum of the principal and the interest of an account that earns simple annual interest. So the one difference here is that you're finding the principal, or you're finding the interest, but you also have to add that onto the principal. So whatever you started out with, you still have, you're just getting a bonus on top of that. Compound interest that is earned on both the principal and any interest that has been earned previously. Okay, let's go ahead. These definitions may have been a bit confusing, but we're going to go ahead and start going over some of the problems, and hopefully they'll be a little more clear. Okay, so let's look at example 1. You borrow $2,500 and pay a simple interest rate of 3 5/10% per year. How much interest do you pay after 30 months? So what we have to go to first is thinking about our formula, I equals PRT, and then we can plug our numbers in. Now, one thing that's a little tricky here is that the percent is written as a percent. We need to turn into a decimal. So of course we move the decimal point 2 places. And 30 months, time's always given in years. So principal times rate as a decimal times time in years. So notice I went ahead and changed 30 months to 2.5 years. And 3 5/10% would be 35 thousandths. Now I can multiply. Again, I can multiply in any order I want. Doesn't matter to me. And I end up with 218 75 hundredths. Now, because we're talking about money, we know our answer also needs to have a dollar sign. And it's a multiple choice problem, so I do need to have a multiple choice answer, which in this case, of course, would be B. Okay, let's have you go ahead and try one of these out. Remember, the formula is I equals PRT. Go ahead and find the answer. Remember, when we're talking about money, you need your dollar sign. Okay, welcome back. Let's take a look. You should have your formula, numbers plugged in, multiplied together, and our final answer is $63. Okay, and actually, traditionally, you'd see that dollar sign written at the beginning. Okay, let's take a look at account balance. So this is one, again, I was talking about, a little bit more common than you would see just a simple interest. Simple interest just means what you made right then. Account balance means what you made plus what you already had. Because obviously we're not going to steal money out of your account when we give you the interest. So let's take a look. You earn $500 shoveling snow. You deposit the money in a savings account that pays 4% simple annual interest. Find your account balance after 6 months. So we go ahead and we write A equals P times 1 plus RT. So if I distribute this would be the same thing as before, the principal plus the principal times rate times time. So I can plug my numbers in. Notice I have multiplication here, so that has to come first. Then I see within those parentheses I have addition. And finally I have multiplication. Now, because we're working with money and it's a savings account, our answer does need to have a dollar sign, $510. Okay, let's go ahead and have you try a few of these out. Go ahead, press play when you're ready. Okay, what I've got here is I have a few problems where you could really solve it 2 different ways. So principal, rate, and time. For finding that account balance, we need to again we can use our formula for account balance, or we can use a simple interest formula and just add on the original at the end, the principal. So if I use my initial formula and I add on the principal at the end, I do my multiplication, 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 and then I add that to 650 to find a total of 780. If I use my account balance formula, notice again I end up with the same thing. Both formulas will get you there. The trouble is account balance formula most people forget, where I equals PRT is much easier to remember. So you just use that, and then you just need to make sure if they're actually asking for the balance, you add it together. Where if they're just asking for the interest, you do not. The final part here, of course, is that we need to have it with a dollar sign because we are talking about money. $780. Okay, let's take a look at teacher example 3. You deposit $400 in an account that pays 4% interest compounded annually. What's your balance at the end of 3 years? Now this part's tricky. Make sure you copy down that formula for compound interest. A equals P times 1 plus R to the T power. Having this exponent of T is what really messes things up. So I'm going to go ahead and plug my numbers in. Obviously I know I need to start with parentheses, so I add. Then I have multiplication here and I have my exponent here, so I need to do the exponent. So that means 1 and 4 hundredths times 1 and 4 hundredths times 1 and 4 hundredths. Okay, then, and that's where again, see I'm getting these longer decimals, it gets a lot harder. And then I multiply it by 400. And of course my answer, I need my dollar sign, $449.95. Notice I rounded the number off. The 5 told the 4 to round up to a 5, and I left it there. Because when we're working with money, we never want anything to go past the hundredths place. Okay, so go ahead, take a look at the quiz. Make sure you go over those problems. Again, rewatch the video if you need to before you take that quiz, because I do want all of you to end up with 100%. Have a great day.